Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is set to vaccinate 70% of dogs in Ghana this year. This is to help eradicate rabies from the country. The national exercise is expected to begin from the Upper East region on the 28th of September 2020 under the theme End Rabies, Collaborate and Vaccinate. About 1,000 dogs are expected to be vaccinated this year. Joining me in studio is Dr. Richard Suire. He is the chairman for Rabies in West Africa and senior lecturer, School of Veterinary Medicine, University of Ghana. Also here with me is Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu. He is a media coordinator, Rabies in West Africa. He's also a veterinary doctor. First of all, let me start with you, Dr. Suire. Now, 70% vaccination by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is a very ambitious target, isn't it?
Well, too ambitious. It's too ambitious because we don't even have our dog population on hand. And before you go for vaccination, you need to know how many dogs you have. And then you then talk of vaccinating 70%.
Oh, okay.
But though this year is very important. Why is it important? Because there's two critical documents that government has signed. And I think we have been following this document for so many years. It has been signed.
Which document?
It shows an commitment. One, we have a strategic plan. Because if you want to join the community that are eliminating rabies, you need to have a strategic plan so that you have donor partners supporting you. That document has been there. It has been signed. One, the international community, that is World Organization for Animal Health and WHO, have sent out commitment form for every country to sign that they are committed to eliminating rabies by 2030. That has also been signed. This is good news for veterinarians and for the public health of this country.
Okay, I'll come to what governments must do very shortly. But Dr. Sasu, why is it so important that governments would make these commitments to eradicate rabies?
Yes, there are two things. Rabies is 100% fatal. It means once somebody gets it, start to manifest in the person, the clinical signs and symptoms, the person will die outright. There's no treatment for it. The good news is that it's vaccine preventable. It means that if we vaccinate our dog population, we could eliminate rabies and we could be free. Countries like Libya, Mauritius in Africa have done it. Why not Ghana? We hit our chest when we talk about peace. Why don't we do rabies? And in Ghana, it's so sad that it's part of the neglected tropical disease. So you meet people and people, it looks new to them. They don't know what rabies is about. But people are also dying. When you look at the World Health Organization, their statistics, 70,000 per year. That is even those who are able to report. 95% happens in Africa and Asia. So looking at it, Africa, we are part as Ghana. And it's going to mean that with the 70,000 per year means 144 per day. And every 10 minutes we are losing a life. And the sad thing is that 0 to 15 year people, that is children, they are the majority victims.
That's very sad indeed. That's very sad indeed. And it really draws a picture for us to understand why governments must take an action such as this. But from where you stand, Dr. Suire, we are not at the right footing yet.
No.
To achieve this target of 70%.
Yes. There are a lot of things to do in order to say we are coming to vaccinate 70% of
like
dogs.
what?
Yeah, like I was saying, you need to have your dog census handy. That you know that these are the areas. You need to even mop up to know what is the situation in the country. Then you need to get the logistics. You have to get your vaccines, you have to get your necessary vaccination aids and all those things. And even the staff. You know we have been shouting about inadequacy of veterinary staff in the country. It's still there. So how can you go out and vaccinate 70% when you don't even have? You remember the good old days when we were children? Every year, they take 2 weeks to do mass dog vaccination. After that, any dog on the street would have attacked is arrested. All that is not done. It will take us time to go back to full activity. So there are a lot to prepare towards that.
Okay. In the meantime, Dr. Sasu, what can we do?
In the meantime, for civil, NGOs like us, we are creating awareness because education is very key. Because even children need to know that when they get a scratch or a bite from a dog, what they need to do, or the ordinary person walking around need to do. Pet owners need to do what they could play, the role they could play in helping elimination of rabies. If not that, we can't be waiting for government. 2030 looks very far, but it's not far. we could work at it, and within the next 3 or 4 years, we could come out of it. And various NGOs, bodies are coming together to help vaccinate this year. And we hope government will listen, and as they have signed the strategic plan, commit resources. If you commit resources for 4 to 5 years, we'll have all these issues gone.
Do you have an idea how much we need to invest every year for maybe the next 5 years?
Before we go to that, when somebody gets bitten, a scratch, and it needs to be prevented from getting rabies, the treatment, the least you can get is 300 Ghana cedis. Whilst for a dog, the expensive could go is 30 cedis for a dog vaccine. So when you do the mathematics, you could see that it's better we do the dog population. We have the vaccination being done for them, and with that we could save that of humans. And the death of a human from due to rabies is so shameful that people do not tell people. It's so shameful that a lot of people have died that people are not aware of. Some have been told that they have traveled overseas, but they can't. I've met people who have shared stories of telling that his own son died, and he has told the people that he's school with that his son has traveled overseas, but not to, the person died of rabies. Because you see a human being foaming at the mouth, a human being hallucinated by barking, being so aggressive, which is so sad for you to see. And every time you could hear that people die of rabies, I said that and our reporting also is always ongoing. What about the rural folks who don't get even chance to vaccinate their dogs at all? These are things that I was talking about.
You can imagine, Dr. Syria, with if I can use the expression, the superstition that is associated with us here as Africans. If someone begins to foam at the mouth and begins to bark like a dog, I'm trying to imagine the kind of conclusions you will jump to.
Yeah, but it's scientific, because what happens is that the virus go to your brain, that control your sense organs and destroy it. So if the virus destroys your brain and destroys the organs that are supposed to regulate you, you cannot move, you get paralyzed. You cannot talk because your nerves, your voice, they're all destroyed. So you attempt to cry of the pains, and that is the hallucination. You just howl and like a dog because your voice cords are all broken. Okay. So that's why he's saying it's a highly protected disease. Because everything, it's very highly protected. Because everything in you has been destroyed. Yes. Yeah,
but I wanted to know if we want to make this sort of statewide investment. You said 30 cedis per dog. No. And in my intro, I mentioned that about 1,000. We would like to do 1,000 dogs this year. That's a very small number. But very small. If we want to,
yes, I would say, you see, some years back, rabies in West Africa was a lone buffalo just making noise around. This time, the 1,000 dogs is just in Accra. It's in Accra alone, which they did very well by mobilizing resources to vaccinate taxing dogs within a short period of time. In the Upper West region, where rabies in West Africa going, is vaccinating a minimum of 6,000 dogs.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that is within 3 districts.
3 districts?
3 districts.
And we have more than 200 in the country. So
you can imagine.
That gives you an idea.
We have more than a million dogs.
Do you have a figure?
We don't have a figure. That is why I'm saying it's a gradual process. We take that, and God willing, Agambal is is a company that is helping us because they are doing the spraying in the country. We are hoping that next year they will do other regions because they have got all set for Upper West region. We have got the dog population. Now you go in and then you can budget how many dogs you need to vaccinate.
You know what? Time is our enemy when we're having such a good conversation. In 30 seconds, can you help me by giving us some practical tips as pet owners, as regular human beings, Dr. Sasu?
What we are telling all pet owners is that you need to be responsible. What do we mean by being responsible? Provide shelter. Vaccinate your dog against rabies every year. Then to someone who get bitten, get a scratch from a dog, or get a scratch from a cat, or a rabid animal, or any animal. Get running water, 15 minutes, wash the site with soup, under running water with soap, if possible. After I get rubbing alcohol or povidone iodine. After I report to the nearest health center, make sure the animal is taken to the nearest veterinary center. There will be a collaboration to see what type of treatment. You don't need to stay for long because time is a factor. Because the site of the location of the bite is very important. If it happens to your leg, there's a long time. If it happens around your chest or your arm, it's closer to your brain. So the closer to your brain, the faster the virus will spread. All we need to do is that don't provoke animals. Some people enter people's house, they see a dog somewhere, they want to throw stones, they want to try and hit them. Don't provoke. They are friendly. We don't say hate animals. Love them, provide for them. Always when we talk about rabies, we always talk about the aspect of humans. they also need to be cared for.
Yeah.
Because they also get
Very
paralyzed, they
true.
also get to die. But at the end of the day, it entry to human folk, that's another problem. We all need to play our role to help end rabies, vaccinating our dog, be a responsible pet owner. And those who can support corporate societies can help us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very, very much, Dr. Benjamin Kisi Sasu, also Dr. Sure. This is where we wrap up today's edition of The Pulse. We are making way for a special documentary on the man, the legend, the founder, Kwame Nkrumah. My name is Daniel Daz. Many thanks to Yao Forsen, Matilda Omega, Fred Smith, and Loretta. Kessie is also at the back for helping me with The Pulse today. I'll be back tomorrow on JoyNews Today. Enjoy the day.